So today I'll be doing a video discussing Natsu's true brother revealed and why Hiro Mashima has revealed Natsu's secret brother to us. Now, like I've said in all my videos before, Hiro Mashima, he is an amazing, GOAT mangaka, but there is no denying that this man loves to troll us more than anything, and Hiro Mashima just may have trolled us by introducing Natsu's secret brother at the end of the series. Now, when it comes to Fairy Tail, we are all aware of Natsu's current brothers, and number one is Zeref, because we saw the impact that Zeref had on Natsu's life just from being his brother. So the fact that Hiro Mashima is actually going to increase Natsu's brothers and actually make his brotherhood a little bit more deep definitely does get me more excited for Natsu's character, because let's be honest, whenever Natsu has a new brother introduced, some hype things are going to happen. And like I said, we saw that Zeref, he was Natsu's first brother that was introduced, and we have to give Zeref a lot of props to how Natsu turned out the way he is, because if it wasn't for Zeref doing everything that he did, Natsu would not be as strong as he is. We saw that he actually brought Natsu back to life after he was killed, and we don't know how Natsu was killed yet. A lot of people do believe that it was the Holy Pentatrix that did it. Some people say that Igneel may have did it. Me personally, I'm going to lean towards the Holy Pentatrix. I do believe that they did have a hand in deciding the end of Natsu's village and his family and all that things, but regardless of who did it, we know that Zeref, he is the mastermind that brought Natsu back to life, but he didn't only bring Natsu back to life, he made him END. He made him the strongest demon, one of the strongest characters there is to this day, and we saw how much that did end up helping Natsu. We saw he was able to fight a whole lot of strong OP opponents just because he had the END power with him, and we saw that he even made him the leader of Tartaros. So this is a very underrated moment for Zeref and Natsu, because Zeref literally made Natsu as strong as a guild master from the beginning. So that explains why Natsu was able to beat all these top tier opponents and everything. So Zeref, he definitely was looking out for Natsu when it came to the whole END reincarnation and the creation of Tartaros. However, the biggest thing we have to give Zeref credit for, and low-key we have to give underrated mage credit for, was Zeref being friends with Igneel. And the only reason why I'm saying underrated mage is because if you guys are a true underrated mage fan, then you would know that I actually did predict the theory of Zeref and Igneel being friends way long ago. I believe it was about 2 years ago, one of my first theories that I ever did. But regardless of the fact, we do know that Zeref and Igneel, they were good friends, and Zeref, he was the one who actually introduced Natsu to Igneel, and he made him actually teach him dragon slaying magic. So it is safe to say that Zeref, he is pretty much the reason why Natsu has all his powers, his current powers that he has to this day, and it's pretty much a good influence on Natsu's life. So I definitely do have to say that Zeref, he did pass as an older brother, and the only thing that I have a problem with Zeref and Natsu's relationship is we never got to see them team up. Yes, that's the biggest regret that I have, is that we never got to see a dope brother on brother moment teaming up and fighting. I think that was the only thing that we were missing from Natsu and Zeref's relationship. But besides all that, we do know that Zeref, he resurrected Natsu, made him END, made him the guild leader for Tartaros, and he also led to him meeting Igneel. So Zeref, I definitely do have to say that as a big brother, he had a huge role in shaping out Natsu's life and turning him into the person that he is today. Now, the next brother that I'm going to talk about is Igneel. Now, Igneel, he was recently revealed, and he is revealed to be the son of Igneel, the true son of Igneel. And this is crazy because Igneel, he has never told us anything about Igneel. He's never mentioned him before, but it's actually very believable that he did have a kid, because we know that Igneel, he was living for hundreds of years prior to Natsu. So it is obviously very believable that he did have a kid. But similar to how Zeref was with Natsu, we know that Zeref gave Natsu a lot of energy. Igneel also gave Natsu a lot of power, and to be more specific, he gave Natsu his god power up. And that is the most craziest thing to think, because of course we're all going to be super excited about Natsu getting a new dragon power up. You know, we're all been waiting for Natsu to get a new power up, but if we're calling a spade, he got his god form through Igneel. So that just goes to show you that Igneel, he's already playing a good big brother role. He's giving Natsu more god power. And speaking of Natsu's god power, we saw that Igneel, he was the one that coached Natsu through the fight versus Mercuphobia. So we saw that he also did save Natsu's life in the battle of Mercuphobia. And let's be honest, if Natsu did not have Igneel on his side right then and there, let's just say that Natsu might have been leaving that fight in a casket, because he was not going to stand a chance against Mercuphobia or anybody without the help of Igneel. So I definitely do have to say that Igneel, he did save Natsu's life. And the spookiest thing about Igneel is that we see that he does offer to train Natsu, but it's kind of for his own gain. We know that Igneel, he wants to train Natsu, he wants to make him as strong as he is, just so that he could have an opponent in the end, so that he could test himself. He really does remind me of Goku. He's looking very hype, and I do like how Igneel's thinking, but this basically confirms that Igneel, he is going to train Natsu, get him as strong as a god, and he's going to basically buff up Natsu's strength. So Igneel, he is still filling the role of helping Natsu and basically guiding him while he's getting stronger. And like I said, Igneel does plan on training Natsu, which is also very hype, because a training arc between two of Igneel's son, I just cannot wait to see what that's going to go like. And it seems like that Igneel does kind of have like a little problem with Natsu being Igneel's main son, even though he says he doesn't really care that Igneel raised him over Natsu. I think he does care about that, just because, you know, that's Igneel, that's his dad. Whereas Natsu, we saw that he got all the love for Igneel, and it kind of makes me think, what made Igneel leave Igneel besides acting Logi and not making him come back? Like, did Igneel know of Igneel's presence and did he still choose not to come back? Or did he just think, you know, I can leave him on his own, he's going to become strong, blah, blah, blah. So definitely Igneel, Natsu, and Igneel's relationship is going to be very dope. And to be honest, I can't wait to see more Natsu and Igneel interaction, because it's obvious that Igneel is way stronger than Natsu at this point. I mean, it's not even a comparison, but we see that Igneel, he already does have a soft spot for Natsu. I mean, he did save his life from Mercuphobia, and he told Mercuphobia, don't touch him, this one's mine. So it definitely is safe to say that Igneel, while he is playing the tsundere older brother act, you know, obviously act like he doesn't like Natsu, he is still looking out for him. We've seen that it's actually true, because he did save Natsu's life. Now, the moment you've all been waiting for, everybody's like, yo, underrated mage, who is Natsu's true brother? You've been saying that he's going to have a secret brother. His true brother is Arleos, and Arleos is Zeref reincarnated. Now, we've seen at the end of Fairy Tail, a very controversial moment in the chapter was Lucy's dream. Basically, Lucy's whole moment in the chapter, because a lot of people, they were thinking, is this canon? Is this just a dream? Blah, blah, blah. And I was seeing a lot of people saying all these different theories about, oh, this isn't really real, Lucy was just dreaming it. But where is everybody getting this nonsense from? Like, no, if you guys actually read the chapter, you would see that Happy says, oh, it's a good thing that you basically just passed out. You know, Natsu and Happy were alluding to Lucy the whole time, that all the events that she was talking about in the prior chapter did happen. And we saw that during her little quote-unquote dream, Zeref was reincarnated, and this was a huge controversial moment for the Fairy Tail fandom, just because a lot of people were saying, oh, Zeref, he shouldn't be back, Mavis shouldn't be back. Me personally, I think it does make sense, just because they were cursed by God Ank'sram, and they have a curse where they basically aren't allowed to die. So seeing how they did potentially die at the end of the war, a little spoiler, but I mean, it's kind of obvious because we know Zeref is the main villain. But even though they did quote-unquote die, I can see why they'll be brought back to life, because they are cursed to live forever. But now that I got to discuss the controversial part, let me discuss Arleos, because he seems like he is the true Zeref. Yes, Arleos is going to be the true Zeref, because we see that he's a nice person. We see him interacting with Mavis, and he doesn't seem like he is going to be underneath any type of control of God Ank'sram. You know, it doesn't look like he's having any type of split personalities, and this is good, because we see that he is still good friends with Mavis, which goes to show you that he has a lot of connections from his past life. He has a lot of memories from his past life. They're even making little innuendos at August, so that goes to show you that Zeref, he does still retain some memories from being his prior self while he is Arleos. And this led me to believe, will he have a good friendship with Natsu? Like, when Arleos and Natsu meet, will he instantly remember him, or will Natsu basically have to tell him about him being brothers, all this other things? I think that's going to be exciting to see. And when Arleos does return into the series, he is going to be super hyped, because we've seen him and Mavis, they went off on their own to go do their own little story. Obviously, Arleos has been reborn as a quote-unquote reporter, but this is going to be very hype because a lot of people are speculating if he still does have his magic. And me personally, I can see him still having his magic just because since he was cursed by God Angstrom and since he's been reborn, that is a huge indicator of him having his magic for his reincarnation. So I definitely do think that when he does meet up with Natsu, he could have a potential to actually remember him and regain his powers, which could lead to Zeref, aka Arleos. I'm just calling him Arleos because that's his real name. Arleos being Natsu's new teacher. Now, this would be shocking to see because one of the main things that Hiro Mashima did with Fairy Tail, which I think was great writing, was the difference between Natsu and Zeref. Because Natsu, we know that he has all the physical conditions over Zeref, whereas Zeref, he has all the mental, the knowledge conditions over Natsu. And I really do like the fact how they made basically one of them the bronze and one of them the idiot. So I do like how they made the bronze and the braids. I really do like how they split up their relationship with that, which leads me to believe Arleos, he could end up teaching Natsu about dark arts. We know that the Dragneels, they're very skilled when it comes to using dark arts magic. So I definitely do think it would be dope to see Natsu use dark arts at kind of like a homage to Zeref. And last but not least, I do believe that Arleos, he can actually help Natsu defeat God Angstrom once he does unlock his power, because I do believe that Natsu, he will want to save Arleos, his new brother, his true brother, because Arleos, he is the true Zeref. He's actually Zeref acting how he would without him being possessed. So I do think that in order to prevent Arleos from getting possessed again, Natsu, he will step in and he will actually ask Arleos, his true brother, to help him defeat God Angstrom, which makes me believe that Arleos, once he does come back, he will end up being a good guy. But overall, what do you guys think about the possibility of Natsu's true brother Arleos actually coming back? I know there's a huge controversial about people saying if he is canon or not. And listen, people, if you just read the last chapter, you'll be able to see that Hiro Mashima, while he is a troll, he still does leave wide open hints for us fans to actually leave up and actually get good interpretation of. So I definitely do have to say that Arleos, he is going to be very hyped once he's back revealed into Fairy Tail, and I cannot wait to see what Natsu's true brother is capable of doing. Comment what you guys see down below. Subscribe if you haven't. Peace out.